Okay, so now we know what will that event do to our page. Uh, it's time now to take some action, right? We can't let that event ruin our page now, can we? Yeah, so we need to do something. That's where we introduce our little trick. It's called throttling. So throttling can be done in number of ways. There are some libraries that will just do that for you, but that's not what we're going to do here, right? Let's do it by ourselves. So what is throttling actually? So assuming that you're getting multiple requests and you can't, for some reasons, you can't handle all of them, it's not in your best interest. So what you'll do is you receive a request and then set to be honored in some later time, and then you don't take any other request in between the time that you took the request and the time that you're going to execute it. That way, if you're receiving like 100 requests and then you want to handle only one request after 5 minutes, you'll be able to do that, assuming that every request is the same. So that's the same thing with throttling. For every time we take in the scroll event, we'll schedule it to be done after some time, and then we'll take another request. So in our scenario here, I assume that this page is very long, and so the amount of time that a person can read one screen before scrolling will be like 4 seconds, and I can scroll like 3 times. So I want a user to be able to scroll 3 times, each scroll in the gap of 4 seconds or more, so that I'm sure that every time the user scroll, uh, the user will be able to read and scroll to the next cup of text, and then at the end of the day, I'll be satisfied that okay, the user has finished reading this text. Let's go to Throttling. So it, uh, as we've just defined, so throttling will want to know whether there is one event waiting to be executed. That way, I'm not going to take in another request until that one is complete. How do I know that? I have to maintain some state here. So I'll say like is event scheduled, and then by default this will be false. So when your page is rendering, there's no event scheduled at all. Uh, but one will be scheduled very soon. So if the event was not scheduled, let's schedule an event. How do we do that? We do by using set timeout. So this set timeout means that I will execute this function after this amount of time. So this is like 4,000 milliseconds equals to 4 seconds. And after I do that, then I'll have to say that the event is scheduled now. Don't take another request. So the next time you come to this function here, you'll find that uh, this is true, and the event and we're not going to schedule another event until this one is done. But somehow we need to change this state after this event is done, meaning after calling this, we need to change this state. Okay, how do we do that? Just add this line here and set this back to false. That's it. So when this one is done, then we'll set it uh, to false again so that we can take another um, another request. But that's not our aim of doing this. The aim of doing this is making sure that after after 3 scrolling each with a gap of 4 seconds, we will be able to enable our form and show it. How do you show the form? We'll just do this. So the agreement form will be shown by changing the display to block, but the message will now be hidden. But not so quickly. We'll do this when the count is 3. But hey, there is this. I mean, there is a scenario that the user will just start scrolling from the beginning without even reading the first lines. So what should we do about that? What we do about that is calling the throttling method in the beginning when the page is rendered, so that when the user scroll, that scroll will not be counted because we will be waiting for uh, for a call that was scheduled. Let's call this method here, just in case our users trying to be smart, we become smarter. That will do like make a number of scrolling that will be counted to be 4. So in the beginning, we just make sure that any scroll is not counted until the user spend 4 seconds in there. It's not a sure thing. I mean, the user can still read or not read, but this is just for the sake of, of our example. Let's do this. Okay, after this one will not work because our event is calling the previous method, and we want it to call this thing. Okay, on this. Okay, wait for 4 seconds. Nothing is happening. Yeah, let's set timeout. There you go. So that's one event. After 4 seconds, second event. After 4 seconds, third, and there. Okay, that's it for today. We'll discuss some other kind of events and some other tricks in my other videos. Bye for now.